Here we have the front grille of the car, the part known as the shark nose, and it's sitting down, laying on its back. We're vertical, it'd be this way. This is a reproduction piece. The original piece would have been made as one casting. It's now made as one here, one here, one here, one here. Unfortunately, even though it was sent back, it still doesn't fit. It's definitely hitting right in here, which is preventing this end from coming down and also preventing the top end from coming down. My current thought is not to send it back. Instead, when I fit this to the car with the hood on, I'll have to figure out where I'll have to remove material to make this fit the car. I don't like that, but that appears to be what we're going to have to do with this particular piece. I'm going to show you on the Combination Coupe how it should fit, because you can see the fit is way off here at the moment. Here on the Combination Coupe, as we look down here, you see how much closer the fit is. Now, it isn't perfect, because right here, for example, it's not perfect. This is a repro piece by the same person, but I had to do cutting on the piece to make it fit this well. And that's the best fit I could get to line up here and get it to fit with things. Over there, you notice we're way out on this end. And right now, if I were to mount that on there and go stick it on a car, it's going to stick out way beyond the hood. So we're going to have to fit it on the car, as I was saying, to at least get a fit this good out of it. Which is possible because I've done it before, but it's unfortunate that this part as a repro just isn't quite right. Here we have side by side one that was done for a dome light of this style already. That's this one. This is the one we're working on. Now we're most of the way done. We got to take this side off, the part you see in black. Then it will have the same profile as this one over here. Then we'll have to add a screw hole here and a screw hole here, and everything will be converted. So again, we can put this style dome light on. Looking in the top of the 39 Ram 4-door Sedan, it's being done for Kenny. You can see here we have the dome light assembly in. We don't have these screws for holding the lens on. It'll stay on there for now. The reason you would put it in now is because you have to get your wiring up in here above your headliner. So that all had to be done now. The plywood here, which is in fact plywood from back in the day, that's what Ram used, was in 4 pieces because glue had deteriorated, so we glued that together with Tight Bond 3. So it's the original piece, quite usable now. The wire, of course, has all been replaced, going down to the dome light switch, which is over here. And you'll notice up here we replaced the entire upper insulation. Figured out the easiest way to do that was use an oscillating tool with a knife blade. And I could do about 5 minutes at a time because the shaking really gets to your hands, and clean it up down below and keep doing it till that all got replaced. And that was put in with the contact cement. We have a video on the channel showing you how to use that with vinyl. Well, it works great for this also. Here you can see the location of the dome light switch on the passenger side. Not fastened in, it is wired, but we won't fasten it in till later because we have to get a pair of screws for that. And we're going to show you the little cover that finishes it off. And here we have that little cover that will finish it off. We'll get 2 stainless steel number 4 screws about 3/4 of an inch long, which will allow this to be installed because there is upholstery that goes in that area too. Here we are looking at the back of the trunk, and these parts just came in. Same person who did the grill pieces, but these are gorgeous. These are brand new interior handles and window cranks. We have to make the plastic knob, but you can even see the Knight's helmet design. They're going to get used in the inside of the 1939 4-door sedan. Just beautiful. See, we've got brand new rubber matting fit. We've got both tire iron setups done. We've got the wiring harness for the tail lights already installed to the junction block, which you can't see, but that's all set for when we put the tail lights into the car. When you higher up in the trunk, you'll see that we've done the panel board all the way in the back. Added the original style fasteners. Those fasteners are sometimes gray, sometimes brown. Ram apparently used what they had. Over on the side, right here, are rubber drain hoses. They would have been a molded piece originally with a smaller hose that stuck through into the wheel well. We have to make these up out of modern hose. We use one piece that goes all the way to the wheel well, with another smaller piece in, and we add a spring in here because this is a very tight turn, and it would have been molded originally. You can't get that part, so that's how we fixed that up. We've done the entire trunk well area, fixed it up. We already have the seal piece ready to go up here, but until we do normal painting, we won't do that. These are the fender skirt supports from Kenny's car. Top one in gray there. It's got gray primer on it. That's the support for the driver's side. Mounts into the fender with those slotted holes, so you can adjust it around, and you screw your fender skirt right there with one bolt, special bolt that is. This is the one that is in Kenny's car on the passenger side. You can see it's 1/8 inch steel, clearly homemade, clearly with no way to adjust it. In fact, they didn't even have it so you could bolt the fender skirt on in any normal way. You had a bolt that was stuck up in there, and somebody used a nut, and it was very, very strange and wrong in every way. The middle one here is the replication for the passenger side. You notice it's reversed. The only thing we've got left to do is drill and thread the hole here so you can screw in the proper fender skirt bolt, this being the bolt that will hold the fender skirt on. So, not even sure why they would have made it this way. When they had one to go by, can't answer that. But there's a brand new one for the car right there. Here you can see a tremendous amount of things have been completed on the car. Over here on this side we have the heater installed. We also have the cowl pad that Kenny got, which is just gorgeous. That's installed. Now when we installed the cowl pad, you have to modify it for the heater. Probably should have done a whole video on how to do that, but in the future some other vehicle we might. Up here you've noticed we also installed the restored coil. The reason for installing these, of course, now is once we put the instrument panel in here, this would be very hard to do. Here you can see, as we showed you earlier in the video, we've installed the control for the cowl vent, and we've also installed the handbrake because we need those hardware pieces to be matching the body color of the car, so it's time to put those in. starter pedal fully installed. And we've also installed a new stock pedal Kenny got, and came up with a way of adding a hinge at the bottom since the original hinge points were missing from the car. Been done very professionally, works perfectly. Here you have the surround for your steering column. There would also be a rubber seal in here, but we won't do that until we have the steering column back in the car and can make sure we cut it correctly. You notice we have the main wiring harness here, complete with the built-in turn signal that Kenny ordered. The harness needed to be in now because in the back here you can see a line running down the corner. That's for your foot switch. That's for your high-low beams. The fact of the matter is that putting this in after you got the steering column and engine in is near impossible. So doing it right now is the best time. That is why the wiring harness was installed at this point. We can cover those things up when we're painting because of course we can mask everything off, but it was very necessary to get this in at this point or we're going to have troubles later on. Down here you'll see we have the floor cover that was fixed a long time ago in a different video. Installed complete with a gasket made for it. We used for it a set of Phillips screws. That's not original, they would be slotted, but they don't show, and this is a practical method of being able to easily remove the panel. If Kenny wants them changed to slotted screws, we'll change them, but that's also done. Over here, the floor, this used to have a major hole right there, and that has been completely taken care of, new metal welded in, and the whole area in here fixed up, and the sound deadening put in. So there's no more interior work to do for floor, etc., or welding here. There's one part underneath the car when it's back on a lift I've got to weld, and there is one other item that we have to do regarding a brace for a rear fender. But otherwise, all the welding on this car is done. Up here you'll see we put in anti-squeak, so we're ready to put in the instrument panel when we get to that. Here we brought out our mounting points for all of our interior so that they're the right thickness. So that's been done throughout the entire car now. So we are pretty much looking at a car that can have an interior put back in. For those of you that watched the video on our 527T Hupmobile, you would see that we had this car that needs to be redone and was kind of a silver color. This is the color we have chosen. We've done up this tail light. The lens is NOS lens. The rest of this is Hupmobile that you saw in the silver, but now it has been repainted in what's called Sunglow Maroon, real Hupmobile color for 1935. An interesting thing about this particular color is the exact same color was used that year by Ford and Oldsmobile. They just called it some different name. I don't know the names for theirs, but it is an identical color according to TCP Global, where we got this paint. A little dusty because I've had it sitting on the shelf, but this is what the taillight looks like. We think the color is gorgeous. It almost in a way has a little purple cast to it when you see it in sun. But as I said, Sunglow Maroon. We did have to make a new rubber retainer for that lens because the old one wasn't even present. But we found one on eBay where we could copy the rubber retainer and have a perfect solution for assembling this taillight. Here we have the license taillight. They suspended the license holder above the taillight. A couple of things were missing, and both the taillights are currently missing reflectors. We got to find reflectors or we'll have to make them. This particular one also would have a lens right here. We don't yet have that lens. So we'll have to source it or again make it. As you can again see the nice color that we have here and how this is completely changed. We had to do a bunch of welding back in here because the previous owner had just used Bondo. So we welded up a hole in this particular one, making it shut. Looks pretty good right now, partway done. Here we have the interior or sound making portion of the horn for the Hupmobile. Two different notes are used, obviously. This particular one has had a bunch of cleaning done on it already. Not completely done, This one you can see is more how this one here looked in the first place, all full of rust, almost as if they sat with the horn this way in a box and water them. Maybe that's what happened. But we're working on the big horns that go on that car. It's going to be quite a bit of work because a fair amount of it's going to be hard to sand. Obviously, we're not talking about this, but the exterior of the horn would be very hard to sand because we can't disassemble it completely because of how it's put together. But we're working on the big horns for that Hupmobile too. Combination Coupe, and you'll see we've got all the glass, all the chrome pieces, trim pieces, window runners are all in along the passengers. Here you can see we've completely removed the Combination Coupe window assembly from the driver's side. It's all been sent out. It's sent to a company in Tennessee, which, provided it turns out as good as we think it's going to turn out, we'll be telling you about in a future video, was recommended to me by my son who works at a restoration and customization shop in Illinois. He says they do very good work, so we're going to see when it comes in. We'll put this side in, and as I said, if it's as good as we think it's going to be, we'll let you know. Because we've told you in the past, Paul's chrome plating evaporated, so I've been looking for a new, really good plater. Now we're going to do a little scan on this car, see what it says right now. One code. I'll read that code. And it's the P0101. And we're going to show you two things that can cause P0101 we've learned over time in this portion of the video.